All right, today we're putting on our detective hats. Our case file, it's a commercial boiler that's just stopped working. And of course, it's on the coldest day of the year. The building's gone quiet, the heat is off, and we are going to follow the clues, step by step, to find out exactly what's going on.
So, picture this. You walk into the mechanical room, expecting that familiar hum, that background roar of the boiler doing its job, but instead you get nothing. Just dead silence. Now that's a sound that can make your heart sink. But don't panic, because that silence usually comes with a very obvious clue. And there it is, that steady, glaring red light on the burner control. This isn't just a random flicker. This is a boiler lockout. It's the system's way of saying, hey, something's not right, so I'm shutting down for safety. That red light, that's our first piece of evidence. It's the start of our diagnostic trail.
So we're going to need a map for this investigation. For us, that's the Cleaver Brooks Troubleshooting Guide. We're just going to follow the boiler's own startup sequence, the exact order of operations, and check for clues along the way to pinpoint exactly where things went wrong. Okay, so, like any good detective, the first thing you do is rule out the simple stuff. Before we start digging into the complex machinery, we've got to check the boiler's basic vitals. You'd be absolutely shocked how often the mystery is solved right here in the first 5 minutes.
First things first, the absolute basics. Do we have power? I know, it sounds almost silly, but you gotta check that circuit breaker. Is there fuel? Are the gas cocks actually open? And, probably the most important question of all, does the boiler have enough water?
And listen, this right here is the #1 suspect. The source material is totally clear on this. The single most common reason a boiler goes into lockout is a low water condition. This is especially true for steam boilers. So before you do anything else, you have to be sure about that water level.
So what is this low water cutoff, the LWCO? Think of it as the boiler's ultimate bodyguard. It has one job and one job only: shut down the burner if the water level gets dangerously low. It's there to prevent the boiler from basically cooking itself and causing catastrophic damage. It's a non-negotiable safety feature.
All right, so we've confirmed it. We've got power, we've got water, and we've got fuel. The vitals look good. The next stage of our investigation is all about air. We need to find out if the boiler can, if it can breathe. Before there's any fire, the system has to prove it can get a nice, clean flow of air. This whole process is called the pre-purge cycle. Basically, the blower fan kicks on and blasts fresh air through the combustion chamber. Why? To flush out any leftover fuel vapors from a previous cycle that could, go boom. It's literally like the boiler taking a big, deep cleansing breath before it gets to work.
Now, this isn't random. It's a strict chain of events, like dominoes. First, the blower motor has to start. Then, a little device called an air pressure switch has to physically prove, yep, air's flowing. And only once the system gets that confirmation does the air damper move into its low fire position, getting everything ready for ignition. Each step has to happen in order.
It's a pretty elegant sequence, right? But what happens if one of those dominoes doesn't fall? If any link in that chain breaks, if the system can't prove that it successfully purged the chamber, well, it's game over. It's going to stop right there and throw up that red light.
And the culprits here are usually pretty mechanical. The blower fan itself could be clogged up with dust and debris. That little air pressure switch, the sensor, that could have gone bad. Or maybe the mechanical linkage that moves the damper is just plain stuck. Any one of these things will stop the boiler dead in its tracks.
So, let's recap. We have power, water, fuel, and we've proven we have a clean flow of air. Now for the main event, the moment of truth. We need a spark. We need to light the pilot flame. And this is where it gets really interesting.
But before we can even talk about the spark, we have to talk about the boiler's electronic eye. It's called a flame scanner. This thing is a supercritical safety sensor, and all it does is look for a flame. If it doesn't physically see a stable pilot flame within a few seconds, it screams to the controller to shut off the gas. Period. No flame seen means no fuel allowed.
And here's where one of the simplest problems can cause the biggest headache. A clean scanner? No problem. It sees the flame, tells the boiler to keep running. But what if that scanner lens is covered in soot and grime? Well, now it's blind. It can't see the flame that's right there in front of it. So it assumes there's no flame and triggers a lockout. It's crazy. A 5-minute cleaning job can be the difference between a warm building and a very cold one.
Of course, if the scanner's clean, it's not the only suspect.
The ignition transformer, the component that actually makes that high-voltage spark, it could have failed. The gap on the electrodes could be off. Or, and this is a weird one, the pilot gas pressure could be set so high that it literally blows the flame out before the scanner gets a chance to see it.
Let's say we did it. The spark worked, the pilot is lit, the scanner sees it, we have a stable pilot flame. Awesome. But hold on, we are not out of the woods yet. Now the system has to prove it can light the main burner and keep that flame going.
So, at this final stage, you're looking at two big possibilities. First, if the main gas valve just refuses to open after the pilot is proven, you'll want to check the low and high gas pressure switches. There's safeties to make sure the fuel pressure is just right. Second, if the main flame lights up but then the boiler locks out, it's often because the flame scanner is aimed poorly and it loses sight of that bigger main flame.
So after following this whole sequence, from checking the vitals to making sure that final flame is stable, we've actually built ourselves a complete diagnostic map. So let's put it all together and crack this case.
And here it is, the whole diagnostic trail in one place. This is really your key takeaway. When you ask these questions in this order, you're not just guessing anymore. You are following the exact same logical path that the boiler's own controller follows. And if you do that, you can find the precise point where that sequence broke down.
Okay, now for something really important, a safety warning. We've walked through how to diagnose the problem, but doing repairs that involve gas or high-voltage electricity can be incredibly dangerous. If you've gone through this whole checklist and the fix isn't something simple and obvious, the smartest and safest thing you can do is stop and call a qualified technician. Safety always comes first.
You see, what this all shows is that even a really complex machine, like a commercial boiler, isn't some unknowable black box. It has a logical path, a sequence of events. And understanding that sequence is the real key to solving the problem. It's just about following the clues. So that makes me wonder, what's the next complex system you want to break down with me? Thanks for watching.